Would a romance between these two characters be weird or nah? Let's talk about it. I want to hear your opinions on this episode of the StoryPod podcast. Come on in, bestie. Welcome to StoryPod, where we do the doing of story development together. Brought to you by Creative BFF. Hey girl, listen. We have an after work special. Your girl's brain is a little bit frazzled. Her eyes are closing a little bit, but I absolutely had to see you this week. Okay, so we are coming. We're going to work our brain. We're going to put in these reps because sometimes we hit that story development gym, even though we're a little bit tired. It's not the optimal way to go to the storytelling gym. We want to be pumped up. We want to be ready to go and energetic. But sometimes we just got to get it in, right? So let's work this brain sectional. I've done a lot of yapping before I even let you know who I am, because this might be your first time seeing me. And if it is, hello, welcome. My name is Ashley. I am your creative BFF. My goal here is for us to practice story development in a variety of ways. A lot of those ways right now are answering Reddit questions. So that when we sit before our own stories, our brains are already strong, the muscle fibers are already in place for us to now put in that heavy lifting when we really need it, which is when we're writing our own stories. Okay, so if you have a question that I can answer regarding your story, or if you would like some story coaching, you can reach me at the links below, girl. I have a website, I have an Instagram. Listen, DM me your story question at my Instagram, because I feel like that's going to be probably the cutest way to reach me, which is your_creative BFF. I'm pretty sure that's what it says below. My website is creativebff.com. You can also email me, but if I'm 100% honest, I don't really be checking my emails, girl, because I do it in my day job, so I'm not trying to really do it all that much. You know, that was an admission that I didn't mean to make, but listen, we're here now. We're still besties, right? Okay, thank you very much. So as I mentioned, we're gonna be doing an opinion question, and I want to hear your opinion below. What do you think about this? I'm going to read you the question as per usual, but I do want to know if you think that this would be a weird dynamic. Would this be a dynamic that you would give your characters in a story? Or as a reader, would this be a dynamic that you feel is weird, that you're kind of giving the side eye to? So let me read this and you let me know what you think. And I'm going to give you my opinion, and we may not agree, but that's okay, because we can disagree and still be friends, right? Thank you. So here is the question from the r/character development subreddit. The asker is Intelligent Screen 90. And their question is, would a relationship between these two be weird? Hi, I've been developing my story and figuring out some of the finer details, and two of my characters, which I never planned to be in a romantic relationship, seem to have a lot of natural chemistry. It's out of my hands, the characters just took the reins. Anyway, I'm hesitant to romantically involve them because the dynamic is a bit complicated and I don't know if it would be too weird. One of them is a vampire who turned at 17, but he's been alive as much as a vampire is alive for 68 years. He's currently attending an academy as a 17-year-old. The other one is a 27-year-old asexual professor who teaches at this academy. The vampire doesn't have a class with him. Opinions? And I ask you, opinions? What do you think? I'm going to give you my opinion, but don't let my opinion sway yours, girl. Like, be real. Let your freak flag fly, I guess. Anyway, so for me, the answer to this question would be yes, this does kind of feel a little bit weird, okay? Because there is a perceived power imbalance between the professor and the student, regardless of whether the student is in the professor's class. This is still a professor. There is still a perceived power imbalance, regardless of the true age of the vampire student, like also aesthetically, and the expectation of the other characters in the story, at least initially, and the expectation of this professor, at least initially, is that this person is a 17-year-old student at the school. So that is an uncomfy dynamic. And I'm not sure if a broader audience for your book would be able to kind of mentally get past that. And I don't know if we want a society in which we can mentally get past that. I'm just saying, you know. And it also kind of, to my mind, is playing into an uncomfy fantasy of the teacher-student dynamic. And I feel like there are dirty pictures, okay? Dirty films that probably have that, subplot? I don't know. I don't partake in that, but I can see how that would be a thing. Now, it does depend on your intended audience. There's a lot of awkward, weird, uncomfortable relationships that we see depicted in books, right? And those books then typically only appeal to a certain audience. If you want a broader audience that has, I guess, forgive me for saying it this way, normal values around this kind of thing, I would say it would be weird to keep to create a relationship, a romantic relationship between these two characters, keeping the dynamic the way it is, or the key points, age, career, or, student positions, things like that. And I will say it does kind of give Edward and Bella, right? Except I think the reason that we were kind of able to be okay with it, because wasn't Edward like 98 years old or something like that? Also turned at like 17 or 18, and but aged 98 years. So I think that the reason that we were able to kind of be okay with that is, number one, they were both aesthetically 17, and that's, not necessarily a material point in real life, because there are people who look younger and people who look older, and that is not grounds for getting into a relationship that is not cool, okay, in that direction, age-wise, or power imbalance wise. However, they were both students at the school. It wasn't that, Edward was a teacher or Bella was a teacher, or their power balance was basically equal, societally, right? Outside of things like, oh, he's a hot, popular guy in the weird family that's hot and popular, and he's rich, all that kind of stuff. And she's the new girl that everybody, whatever those dynamics are, there is still the perceived power balance between them, because they are basically in the same station in life, and neither one of them holds societal power over the other, right? I guess if I think long and hard enough and deep enough about it, it could be weird, but it doesn't punch me as weird like this one does. So the way that, what I would suggest if I was this person's writing coach would be, after having had conversation with this person, like, what do you want to really achieve? I understand that it's like they have great chemistry and things like that, but can the chemistry be directed in a different way? That would be a question. Like, they could be vibing and things like that, but perhaps can it be on a non-romantic level? Can it be on a, brother, sister, or brother, or whatever, sister, whatever the gender is of these people? Can it be that dynamic instead of romantic? Can it be like genuine best friend type of dynamic? They can have chemistry in that way, right? Can it be a mentor-mentee type of situation? That sometimes also kind of leads into, that could possibly lead to weird stuff. But, sorry, I shook my desk. But can the chemistry be directed in a different area and kind of molded in a different way? If not, if the chemistry is specifically romantic chemistry and you want to appeal to a broader audience and you care about that sort of thing, okay, I would suggest probably, depending on the type of academy, aging the student up some, give him like another 3 years, not 18, because the brain is still not fully developed. And that's another question, side note, depending on the lore and the logic of vampirism in this story, is it like his brain also stopped developing when he was turned, as part of the non-aging situation? That's a question. But, your brain is not fully developed until what, like 22 or 25? I think it's like 25 years old. Your brain is not fully developed. So 18 is still weird, okay, for a 27-year-old teacher, all right? Potentially, if you want to keep the ages the same, then can this relationship not be, which is still weird, bro. I mean, you're presenting 17, but if it's outside of an academy setting, if it's like a barista and a customer or whatever, and it's like, okay, this is a young looking person, they're actually 68, they can tell them whatever age they want to tell them or whatever, then okay, that alleviates that area of weirdness in the relationship, because it's no longer a professor-student situation, again, regardless of whether that student is in the class, because it doesn't matter, okay? This is weird. If the academy can support having older students, that would probably be, if you want to keep the setting the same and you want to keep the role of the professor and all of that kind of stuff, and you definitely want this particular character, I'm trying to see, they don't specify whether these are side characters or main characters. It sort of seems like they might be side characters, or one of them may be main and one may not, I don't know. But if we need to have the professor and we need this to be a student, can we just age up the student? Is it a college type of situation, a university, or is it specifically like a private high school type of situation? If you can, please forgive if you hear a helicopter outside. It's probably kind of loud. I don't know. We'll find out in editing. But if you can give the school the ability to, or, I guess the ability, or the student body being a little bit older, and make this one like a 20-year-old, that doesn't feel as awkward, especially considering that they are actually 68, but they are enrolling as a 20-year-old in this university. Could it be that the student entered at 17 and they've been there for 3 or 4 years, and so people think that they are 21 years old, and so it's not as weird? But it would, regardless of the age though, honestly, truthfully, if I'm being real, even if this was like a college setting, where there are professors and there are adult students, it would still kind of be weird. I feel it would still kind of be weird if it's like even if it's like a 21-year-old and a 27-year-old professor, or if it's a senior student. This might be, I guess people will probably think it's more acceptable, because when you graduate college, you're like 24, right? Typically, if you went straight from high school to college, maybe you're like 24 years old, right? And the professor's like 27. The age difference is really not that huge, and so that feels more comfortable. It's slightly, I guess it wouldn't be awkward because they're not in the same class. So this is not a professor of this student. If this was like a 24-year-old senior, 23-year-old junior, there could potentially, I guess, be some leeway for them to have encountered each other. They're similar in age. They encounter each other on the campus, don't know that one is a student and one is a professor or whatever. And they start to develop this chemistry-filled relationship. And then they can just kind of like not act on it until the student graduates or leaves college. It's still, I'm not gonna lie, it still feels a little uncomfy, but it's not as uncomfortable as a 17-year-old appearing student and a 27-year-old professor. So that is what I think about it. Let me see, is there anything else, any other ways to think? I was trying to think of like, is there a way to kind of give an answer that applies to more than just this specific book and this specific set of characters and questions? And I wasn't really, I'll be honest, I wasn't really able to come up with one because this is kind of specific. It's like, what advice do you give regarding, is this relationship weird? I guess my advice would be think about the audience that you're trying to appeal to. Would it be weird to them? You know, another thing is, if you're asking this question, then it's you probably know that it's weird. You know, if you're basically like a person with normal values, sorry again to use that word normal, and you're like, oh, is this weird? It probably is weird if you're asking if it's weird or not, right? It's probably weird. And if you're not, and this is your niche and this is the type of stuff you want to write, just barely legal type romantic situations, then you're going to be limiting your audience. Sorry if my eyes are drifting all over the place. I'll be forgetting where to look sometimes. Think, you know, just accept that perhaps your audience is going to be reduced a little bit, potentially they might be reduced. Or if it's not reduced, you might have people that are like, this is weird. Like, side note, again, back to the Twilight situation, I might have mentioned this in another podcast, but another weird relationship, like Stephanie really like pushed it into the stratosphere with this one, which is Jacob imprinting on Renesmee. That's weird. Why did you make that decision? And the justification was paper thin, bro. And it's like, oh, this is why he was in love with Bella, is because some part of him knew that some part of her, oh, no, bro, that's a baby. And Edward had the right response, because you would have never seen that baby again. I don't care about your Wolfie imprinting. I don't care. Now, I was a Jacob. I was a team Jacob when I was reading that book. Okay. So I was like, look how they did my boy. Why you do that to him, girl? Give him a just don't even give him a romance in this book. He just lost. He lost to Edward, and that's okay. All right. Let the team Jacob fangirls take it from here. All right, we will write fan fiction. We'll come up with some romance for him. You don't have to tie it up with a bow. Or if you want to give Jacob a romance, like, let's just drip drop another character in there through the book. Doesn't have to be somebody super major, just somebody that you can later say he imprinted on. Or even if it was like another vampire, that could have been Cush, right? Because didn't they at one point, listen, I'm going on a rant. At one point, in one of the books, the second or the third or whatever, wasn't there a period of time where some other vampires came to visit, right? Could it have been one of them? Like, bro, that would have been easy peasy lemon squeezy to have him imprint on one of the vampires that are coming to visit for this, you know, huge battle or whatever thing was gonna. Only vaguely remember things that happened in the book. Here's how I would have all the vamps are coming who are on their side, right? We can have a little side situation, a little couple of side scenes, you know, where we see you know, a cutie patootie vampire girly coming in, all right, giving what she needs to give, whatever that is, and Jacob unexpectedly imprints on her, and then we can have a spin-off book about their relationship and how it develops, this unknown vampire and this werewolf. But it's gonna be this half vampire, half human baby child? Absolutely not. I need somebody who is still into this world. Write that fan fiction. Let's retcon that whole situation. Take Renesmee out of it 100%. Why do we need her? Oh, I guess we needed her because she was like the reason for the conflict and the battle at the end or something like that, right? Because they wanted to kill her because you're not supposed to have baby vampires or something. Okay, keep her. But keep her out of the romance, bro. Don't care how... See, it didn't matter how fast she grew. That justification did not matter because he imprinted on her when she was a baby. And that's gross. So I would have preferred, and perhaps my brain will dip that way. I'm not going to write this fan fiction, but somebody out there write this fan fiction, please, and then let me know so I can read it, because I absolutely want to read it, where he imprints on another vampire from another place. And then we have a spin-off where we see their romance develop. I would love that. What would that even be called? Rising Sun? I don't know. Anyway, it's weird. And yes, this would be a weird relationship. Okay? And you don't have to do it because the professor is asexual anyway. So do they even really want romance like that? I don't know. Maybe I don't have the correct definition. And you know what? I'm rambling right now. Let me go ahead and stop. And let me go ahead and be quiet. Let me end the video here. Listen, thank you for spending some time with me. Please definitely let me know what you think. What is your opinion? What would you advise? Do you like this kind of thing? Listen, no, I'm not trying to shame you. Do you like this kind of dynamic? Is there another story where they did this dynamic well in a way that does not feel weird? Is it possible to do this dynamic and have it not be weird? Questions that need answers. And listen, have a great rest of your day. I hope your new year is going well so far. And listen, I'll see you next week, girl. Same bat time, same bat station.